Trump is an absolute maniacal lunatic. He's threatening to arrest the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Play the clip.
Gavin Newsom he's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I was Tom. I think it's great. Gavin likes the publicity, but I think it would be a great thing. He's done a terrible job. Look, I like Gavin Newsom. He's a nice guy, but he's grossly incompetent. Everybody knows. All you have to do is look at the little railroad he's building. It's about 100 times over budget. We're putting a flagpole over there. Under budget. I always do under.
He's putting a flagpole over there that's under budget. I mean, this is so embarrassing. And then he's just like, oh, I would do it. I would arrest him. But I like Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's just a lunatic. But he is not ambitious enough to be like the big, bad dictator that he wants to be. But the psychopaths around him are. Yeah. Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, and then it just ricochets from there, just cascading sociopath nut jobs all around him.
Yeah, for a president of the United States to call for a governor to be imprisoned is absolutely unprecedented. I mean, this is authoritarianism, full stop. I mean, Donald Trump has turned the U.S. military on its citizens.
Well, and this is what they do. I think we were talking to a guest, and Rachel Maddow talks about how they prime their base for things. So they're starting to talk about arresting governors. Mm-hmm. They're starting to talk about it. And Gavin Newsom is not popular on the far right. Anybody who is actually an attractive, smart, eloquent, intellectual male, they don't like it all. They like these dipshits that can't blend their makeup. But, they're just priming the base for this kind of stuff. And they have in plans. I've read some articles that he has some really dark stuff in store for this country. And the Supreme Court is still sitting around playing patty cake with him. I mean, their orders are still, in my opinion, pleasing to him consistently. And the do nothing Congress, they're going to do nothing. And so we just, watch. But here's Trump saying that he saved Los Angeles. We made a great decision in sending the National Guard to deal with the violent, instigated riots in California. If we had not done so, Los Angeles would have been completely obliterated. The very incompetent governor, Gavin Newsom, the mayor, Karen Bass, should be saying, thank you, President Trump. You are so wonderful. We would be nothing without you, sir. Instead, they chose to lie to the people of California and America by saying that we weren't needed and that these are peaceful protests. Just one look at the pictures and videos of the violence and destruction tells you all you have to know. We will always do what is needed to keep our citizens safe so we can together make America great again. A few things to unpack here. Number one, this protest is in a tiny little block of Los Angeles. Everybody else in Los Angeles is living their lives as normal. He has manufactured a crisis like he does all the time, like about the tariffs, manufactured so that then he can come in and pretend like he is the rescuer. But this is more dangerous. And if you listen to historian Ruth Ben-Gate, she talks about how authoritarians create and manufacture chaos. It's a completely imaginary problem. And then they come in so they can move the goalposts. And he's dying to do whatever he can do to not have midterm elections. So we're going to see this really start to crank up.
And we have this weekend, his parade that he's dedicating to himself from his birthday. And from what I'm reading, there's all these protests against Trump going to come on. So this gives him a window into those protests because by all accounts, police, mayor, municipal officials, governor, peaceful. These protests are peaceful. And they came in and just launched a grenade against all these people. And I'm saying that figuratively. And they are trying to, and I promise you on Fox News, they're like rah, turn the military on the American people. Like they're all for it.
Which is so short-sighted, if Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch think that at some point he's not going to want, if they keep giving him all this, he's not going to want to say, you know what, you've made too much money off of me. I want Fox News. I want the government to own and control it. The people should own Fox News. They've been lying to you and ripping you off. Nobody is safe under this. So they all play the short-sighted patty cake, duck, duck, goose with this nut. And they're all going to get screwed because nobody has conviction, because as a country, we have created this massive, horrific greed. And we can deal with Trump. Eventually time will deal with him, or he'll get dealt with in an election. One of those two things will happen. But we have to deal with the problems that facilitated Trump, that brought Trump about. And it is a very broken capitalist system where we value the wealthiest at the top. Where, think about it, out of the 77 million, I would say 99.99999% of them voted against their own economic interest with this guy. And he has them cheerleading for Musk and others to receive more tax breaks.
Look no further than the colossal breakup between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, because Trump wants everybody to do exactly what he says all the time. You can never fill him up. This $100 million parade, it's not going to make him feel good. He's going to be worried about the protests. He's going to be a victim of the protests. Elon Musk rats him out about the Epstein stuff. And now we're not talking about that anymore because we've sent the National Guard into the American cities.
Think about the psychology of this guy. He's the sorest winner.
Oh, yes.
And he's also the sorest loser. It doesn't matter if he wins or if he loses. His number one drug of choice is whining and crying and complaining. Poor me, poor me. And like when he wrote in that tweet that I read, everybody should be saying, thank you, sir. And everybody on the planet could be saying that. But his mom and dad fucked him up so extraordinarily that we're dealing with a toxic little titty baby with inner child issues and trauma that cannot be fixed. We're talking about an 80-year-old man that's tripping up the stairs of Air Force One, can barely speak, surrounded by a bunch of psychos, and he wants everybody to praise him. And I agree with you, the parade will not cut it. Here's Newsom calling Trump a liar.
To, as always, hit you hard publicly. Just 10 minutes ago, he put out another Truth Social telling you and the mayor to apologize to the people of Los Angeles. You guys go at it pretty hard publicly, but I know you talk privately. Have you spoken in the last couple of days to the president about any of this?
Yeah, we talked for almost 20 minutes, and this issue never came up. I kept trying to talk about L.A. He wanted to talk about all these other issues. We had a very decent conversation.
When was this?
This was late Friday night, about 1:30 plus his time.
After the protests had started?
After the protests, and he never once brought up the National Guard. He's a stone-cold liar. He said he did. Stone-cold liar. Never did. It was a very civil conversation. I've always wanted to approach engagement with the President of the United States in a respectful and responsible way. But there's no working with the President. There's only working for him. And I will never.
Okay. You know what Trump is? He's like the verbal comment section of like Facebook. Yes. Like he'll say all of this shit in front of cameras, and he'll lie social it. He'll do all this stuff. But when he gets on the phone with Gavin, he pusses out. He's puss boy city. He can't sit there and have a conversation with him because he knows Gavin will eat him for lunch. So we elected a low information voter who's like a chronic Facebook commenter. That's the president of the United States, using news scum and all of that stuff. And I guess that hits hard for the 77 million that voted for him to call a governor Gavin Newsom. I guess they like that, and it hits really hard. But for me, I think politics, as entertaining as all of this can be, politics are best boring. It's policy wonky stuff. And we've turned this into this tabloid reality TV show bullshit. And just one thing I want to say about the immigration issue. Barack Obama and Joe Biden both deported far more people than Donald Trump ever has. And they did it all legally. Everybody had due process. And I think Obama is 3-point-something million. And Joe Biden deported like something over 4 million. Well, Stephen Miller's panties are in a wad right now because his deportation numbers are down. So put up this next one. Miller incited the protest by ordering officials he'd no authority over to ditch the policy of only seeking persons with criminal records and instead demanded they raid Home Depots to get the max number of nonviolent folks. The whole thing was a scam. ICE officials don't know who to arrest thanks to Stephen Miller. And here's what I have to say about this. The Home Depot guy is a well-known Republican MAGA funder. And so all of these people that want to play short term with Trump, they're going to find out. And it's so gross that this is what it takes for them to find out. Now, none of these subcontractors are going to go to Home Depot anymore if they know that ICE is hanging out there.
Right. And here's the fundamental issue. I mean, there's so many. I shouldn't say just the one. But the fact that they don't care. He's worried about numbers. He's not worried about, we heard about criminals and insane people and all that. The reality is they are doing these deportation exercises with their masks on. They are raiding vacationers to the United States of America because they want numbers. They want to put it on the White House Twitter network how big and bad and bold they are because they're a bunch of bullies with no soul.
I saw this clip where ICE went into like a construction site and arrested 100 migrant workers. And as somebody who, as an interior designer around construction all the time, the effects that this would have to remove that labor force from the United States of America is going to be horrific. And if you think that people who did the insurrection can climb up on a roof and do that type of manual labor for the exploitative rates that these immigrants do it's just so stupid. I mean, these people are so breathtakingly stupid, and it's just this short-sighted impulse. But Stephen Miller, he likes to produce this kind of porn online. And his version of porn is rounding up brown people and whisking them off to concentration camps. This is going to sound vulgar, but I think everybody will get it. I guarantee you those CCOT pictures of that El Salvadorian prison where they're all lined up, I bet that's the kind of stuff that Stephen Miller has in a spank bank.
I 100% agree because he is so cruel. Yeah. I mean, he likes it.
It's some sort of weird fetish thing with him that he likes that whole. The White House account made that ASMR video of them clanking the chains and putting people up. I think this is his kink. And here's the deal. I mean, if somebody has a kink, whatever. This person should not be in charge of anything. No. And he has always been right in the shadows. He's the one that planned that whole MSG rally, right, which had all of these Hitler overtones and undertones to it. And the weirdest thing about so many people in MAGA is this. Stephen Miller, Jewish. Yet Nazi-ish. Scott Bessent, gay, yet kind of anti-gay. Kristi Noem, a woman, yet very anti-woman. J.D. Vance, closeted gay, yet very anti-gay. And you can just go on and on down the list that we have Trump. The only people that remained after Trump 1.0 are these very broken people that are going into this government as a means to either they have so much self-loathing, they want to exact that onto the public. I liken it to Catholic priests. They probably had some sort of, sexual perversion. They thought, okay, if I'm a priest, I can go into the church and then everything's going to be better. These guys are going into government thinking they can fix all of their brokenness through humanity. And it's like we're dealing with incredibly broken people that literally need to be in an institution.
Absolutely. Stephen Miller is probably the most diabolical of the whole bunch. And that is an extremely, extremely high mark.
Okay. And then one final clip here, post. Terry Moran, an ABC reporter, tweeted the following. The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualizes the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translates them into policy. But that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He is a world-class hater. You can see this just by looking at him because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. Trump is a world-class hater, but his hatred only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. That's his spiritual nourishment. I think that is spot on. I think that's a great tweet. I think that's great analysis. What does ABC News do? Suspends him because Stephen Miller and Trump called ABC and whined and cried like the little titty babies that they are, because you know why? It's 1,000% true.
Right. It's absolutely true. Look at what Trump does. Everything is about, sir, you're so great. Everybody loves me. Either he's a victim or he's the best thing that ever did. He never did anything so-so in his mind. He's always the best at everything. Stephen Miller has consistently been a racist. I mean, he is running around the last 4 years worried about white discrimination.
But the larger issue here is that ABC News is going along with Trump and Miller. That's the bigger issue. Of course, Trump's a piece of shit. Of course, Miller's a piece of shit. When we see this appeasement and you see these corporations, they are playing such a short-sighted game. ABC News, this is ridiculous. It is embarrassing that they would do that. That was a spot-on analysis. It is his opinion. They should have defended him. They should have gone to bat for him, and instead they suspend him. And what we're finding out right now in the United States of America is Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, we all know they're pieces of shit. Who is going to enable the pieces of shit? And we're finding out. We're finding out that Jeff Bezos, Zuckerberg, the neutered Zuckerberg, I still can't believe he went on a podcast and said that out loud. I feel so neutered in my workplace, but I'm an alpha male.
Right.
I mean, anyway, all right, listen, these corporations that are capitulating to fascism is just really, really dangerous precedent. And ABC News, shame on you.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that we share that tweet and keep it alive because it must have really stung.
Because it's exactly right. Truth is so powerful for these people because they live in lies.
Okay, order our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Support us by buying our book. The link is in the bio, and it'll also be pinned to the YouTube comment. So please order. It's a great little weekend read, and we'll see you all later.